Hey y'all, so I have just a few minutes. I'm so excited to unmold these. So I wanted to pop on really quick, get these unmolded, and then I'll merge this with the next video to show the cleanup and the finishing of them. But I couldn't resist just coming on to demold these because so I'm gonna let the anticipation build. I'm gonna undo the dump pour one, and then we'll do our honey pot. Oh, this is going to be gorgeous. So these are a little bit tricky when you're trying to get them started. You definitely have to work with it. You could use a mold release if you wanted, but I've never had to. I'm able to get them. And I always like to flip my mold to the right way pretty quickly, just so that it doesn't lose its intended shape and form. So we'll get him flipped back around. Perfect. So this one is kind of like this oblong shape. So it's meant to be like that, which I think is really cute. This is beautiful. But look at this side. Look at these colors. Look at how it like swirled and waved. We have some micro bubbles in here, but I think it really adds to the waviness of the alcohol inks and the way they just like magically went into this. It's so pretty. So pretty. I don't think the camera can do these colors any sort of justice, honestly. So cleanup will be to clean this edging and put a thin coat to help cover that so that it doesn't hurt somebody or their furniture. And then she's done. Oh, love her. Okay. I really don't have much time. I gotta hurry. We can do it. Maybe. Alright, honey pot's gonna be a little bit difficult. But we are gonna make it work. You do want to be careful that you're not getting yourself cut by the little edges up here, because that can slice right into you just like a knife would, or a piece of glass. And it's just all about kind of unrolling this mold. That's how it's working. It definitely didn't come out like I had maybe planned it, but it's looking really good. So I'll show you guys here. I know there's a glare on it. This mold does not want to go back into shape. There we go. All right, look at this. Look at the bottom. That's really pretty. I know it's hard because the light is wanting to glare off of the beautiful shine. But then look at our edges. We have a beautiful crane here. Beautiful flowers. Another beautiful crane. Our mica powder didn't really give us a lot of coloring, and we ended up with a little bit of a gap there. That is where I knew we would, because I can see where the tape folded. I don't think somebody not knowing what it was would notice that. And I definitely had some micro bubbles going on with this pour, because I can see them. Oh, we've got a big bubble in our lid, but I think UV resin will fix that. Ooh, that is beautiful. That is really pretty. There's a big bubble here and here. Oh, in here. Okay, that's going to be a lesson with this mold. We got to make sure to squeeze it a little bit more to get those out. I don't know if you can see them, but look at this. this is beautiful. Again, the camera's not really doing it justice. It looks stunning. This is definitely not cured. And I don't know why that is. That is the first time I've had that. I noticed my fingerprint on it, and I don't know why. I'm going to let that sit out. Yes, it's a little smushed from my pushing on it, and I'm going to just let that be natural. I'm going to see if that cures up now that it's not stuck in there. None of the rest of it doesn't seem like there's any issue with it. So that's really weird that little spot didn't cure. Huh. All right. Well, there we have it. I'll be back on to get these cleaned up and ready for purchase. But look at that. That's cute, right? So sweet. All right. See you guys soon. Bye. Hey guys. So we are going to finish up our little honey pot jar and our little vase that we had done. Gonna clean these up and get them ready for if they're gonna be gifted or kind of what the next step is, you know, if you're gonna sell it, so forth. So the first thing is these bottoms are a little sharp, a little rough on the edges just as far as sharpness goes. So I'm gonna give this a little touch up on the bottom. Same thing here. This one is extra. It's got some extra little lips going on. Extra sharp and could definitely slice a finger. And we don't want that. So we have our deburring tool. That's what this is. It spins up here. I know the camera's trying to focus. It's trying to find what to focus on. So it is a little challenging to use when you're first doing it. Kind of like a potato peeler in that sense of just, it's moving. So you just want to take nice little easeful around the edge here. And then we're going to put just a little bit of UV resin on this to kind of top this off, finish this up, give it that finished look. And you want to do it in small bits. The other thing you have to be careful is to not rest your tool on this part and end up scratching, because if you scratch that, you're going to have a blemish that either you're going to have to live with or you're going to have to fix. So you just want to hold it in a way that you're not going to do that. And basically go all the way around, and that feels pretty good. It's a little bit high over here, so I'm gonna just try to get a little bit more down. I'm just trying to get it pretty level, even around the edge, and then like I said, we'll just do a little touch up with UV resin. That's better than, or easier, not necessarily better, but it's easier than mixing part A and B and like re-situating. Now, when I unmolded these, I noted that our little knob up here's still got like uncured resin inside. So the exterior cured, but there's uncured inside. So it's a little bit moldable. So I'm going to try something to fix that. And I think this one's going to go to my daughter. Oh, there's like a sticky edge there. Oh, okay. It's definitely sticky. She fell in love with this, so it's not going to be given to anybody but my daughter. So imperfections will be okay. All I can figure is that I must have had a patch that just hadn't like mixed properly. Part A and B hadn't had the proper mix, because the rest of this is like solid, and except that sticky spot that I just inadvertently stuck my hand in, and now I'm picking it back up and I don't know where that was. So yeah, a little strange is definitely the case. And we had some bubbles happen. Oh, it's right here. Of course, I stuck my finger right back in it. Should maybe put gloves on, but oh, there's another spot over here. This is so strange. So I'm just going to do around the edge of this. I'm just going to go around and take that top layer off. I'm going to have to clean my hand again because it's getting sticky. Essentially, I'm going to try to seal this with just UV resin, like on that knob, just so that we get a hard edging. But man, I just can't believe that I had such a flub with this. I haven't ever had it go that like wrong. It's almost like there's a hole over here and the uncured resin is seeping its way through. And it's just this lid, the bottom. Man, I can feel it even on this part of the lid. That is just wild. Okay. So that's a little weird. This edging, it's not bad because it was part of the mold, so you're not going to have much, and somebody's not going to be like, you know, so I'm not really worried about that. But obviously the bottom, yeah, you could use your little Dremel. That would be fine. But if you don't want to get the dust everywhere, you can just end up with some little shavings, you know. So what do you want? Shavings or dust? Resin dust or resin shavings? I don't know what's better. But I wanted to show the deburring tool just because it is handy, especially in certain pieces where this is a pretty... When we do those flower coasters or the geode coasters, those are hard to get around all the different crevices. But where this is just a pretty straightforward oval circle, I think it is kind of ovaled. I noticed that on the lid too. It just kind of is easy to do that. And then you don't have all the dust stirred up. You just got these little flakes that are in your space. Okay, so let's pull some UV resin. This one's been sitting upside down just because it's getting close to being out. So I'm going to just try to put some in here. Actually, first, before I do that, I'm going to try this. I was thinking about this for the last few days. I'm going to put the UV resin in the lid, and then I am going to try to basically take this. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get this bottle to... I'm going to try to take it and just pop back in the mold. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we're going to try it. Just go back into the mold, basically. Sort of, kind of. And I'm going to just try to make sure that that UV resin is kind of all around. I think it's also getting on our lid, so that could be a little bit troublesome. But again, at this point, I have nothing to lose. And I know I'm not gifting it to somebody other than my daughter, which I guess that's kind of rude, but you know what I mean. I'm not gifting to an outsider. So I'm going to go ahead and put the UV light over that. Probably not 6 minutes. Let's change you. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on pouring a little bit out in this little cup. Now, I'm kind of protecting the cup from the UV light just to make sure that we don't cure this up right away in our cup, because obviously we don't want that. Alright. And then we can take a silicone brush. I love our little silicone brushes. And for this one, I really don't need much. It's just putting on a thin layer, or more than anything, cleaning up where we took the edge off and kind of scraped it. But this one even has some like little bubbles down here. Like, you could try to maybe fill that in, but I don't think it's going to change it much. The bubbles are going to be there. Those micro bubbles just are part of the uniqueness of this piece, basically. But what I'm doing is just coming to the edges and wiping that all down. Yeah. And I'm going to try to smooth it out as best as I can so it doesn't become super bumpy. Okay, let's see if this is still a little squish that's going on. So I'm going to put it back under the lamp for just another 60 seconds. And we'll do this little guy up. Making sure y'all can still see me. I know the color is a little off. It's just because the UV lamp is going. So that's just inevitable. So again, I'm just kind of going around the edge to shine up our pieces. And you could also put a piece of velvet or felt on the bottom of your pieces, or corkboard if you wanted. But these have really, like this one especially, has a really pretty bottom, and I wouldn't want to necessarily cover it up, even though it's going to sit on it, I realize. I just don't like to hide it underneath. I don't know. It's probably a silly thing of mine that I have, but you know, little quirks. Okay, so these, because they're taller, are going to be, we're just going to have to sit here and hold our lamp over them. This is the Counterculture DIY lamp, UV lamp. It is very new. They have a double decker, so this has a bottom, which if you watched any of my UV tutorials, you know I love having a top and bottom cure with a tray. This has 2 trays for it, and it's foldable. So I love that you can fold it down flat. It makes it a lot easier for storage for me. My Let's Resin one, I love it. And obviously it has been a tremendous, I've gotten lots of use out of it, and I've loved it. The downside is I've never found a good spot to store it, and it's like it's always falling apart, I feel like. You know, the top and bottom are separating, and then it just has always kind of been a mess, I felt like. So I love that this can fold down, and it's like flat. Voila. And the other half does the same thing. And so, and plus, this side is cute. It's all leopardy. The other side is not leopard. It's just white. But it also has controls. So you could set up both of these in your workstation and be carrying 2 different, or you could use top and bottom. So, yeah, that's still pretty tacky. I think it needs a little bit more than 60 seconds anyway. So we're just going to, sometimes this is my downside to this. I don't have issues with my other, and it's this cord I have found. I noted that on another one that I was doing, and I was like, I might have to contact them and be like, yeah, no, I love this product, but your cord is faulty. Unless I hold it, which is a pain, a certain way. Maybe it's just this cord. Maybe I should try the other cord that came with it too. Because really, I don't set up 2 stations with it, so I really only need the 1 cord. But let's cure those up, and then we'll take our lid out and see. I do love a countdown on this. That's the other thing about my Let's Resin one. It doesn't do a countdown. So you're sitting there and you're like, okay, 2 minutes is a really long time. And it feels forever, but at least, it says 60 seconds actually when we're recording, but at least I can see, okay, we're making progress, and I've got a countdown of when it's gonna turn off, so I like that. Oh yeah, much better. These have cured up. A little bit bumpy, which is to be expected. I will leave them like this, just so that they don't get stuck to anything. They need about 24, 48 hours just to fully cure up. UV light helps tremendously, but you do need to let it cure a little bit more than that too. Let's see this lid. Whew. Oh, it didn't do too bad of like extending out. Maybe a little bit here, but that's okay. It just needs to go back under the light because it's tacky, but you can't see where it went, which is nice. So I'm excited about that. Let's see if we can pull this guy back out and give it another 60 seconds. We are almost done with these all. I love when we can finish some things up, because I am really bad about that part. Really, really bad. I tend to do the tutorial and don't show you guys the cleanup part, and then the item just sits there uncleaned, unfinished, and then, you know, yeah. So it's good to do this part. And that cured pretty well. This was a clear mold, you know, the clearish white mold, so that worked out really well. If it had been a colored mold, I don't think it would have worked as well, but I thought that it might do just fine. So I'm happy about that. Now, we do have some pretty big bubbles on that bottom, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with those. So this has a moment, which actually, I probably want that cap again, because I just want this to give me a base to work on. Okay, it's still a little tacky, not awful. I'm sure the UV light is just having a little bit of hard time getting that fully cured due to the background. Okay, so we have some pretty big crater bubbles here. Like there's 1, 2, 3, maybe that's it. Yeah, 3 pretty decent sized ones. So what I am going to do, and I'm not going to use this whole piece because I don't really need, this is resin tape. So the resin won't stick to it basically. Even though it's tape, the resin will not stick to it. So what I can do is create like a little mold to hold and fill that in, if that makes sense. I probably should have positioned that one just a smidge different, because then I could have gotten both and avoid the resin getting onto the rest of the piece that I don't want it to get on. I don't know if it's going to be long enough. I'm like, in my mind, this should totally be long enough. In reality, I don't know, but I made it work. Okay. So I've pushed it down all the way around so that I know that I've got a good seal. And I'm using our lid just to give me that base, because we all need a little base, right? I just need the base to be able to hold it in place. And then I'm going to scoop a pretty decent amount onto my brush, and I'm going to drop it down in to that bubble. Now, there's definitely going to be some cleanup after this to get this, you know, not so edgy and sharp, and potentially some of it sticking up. But I think it'll be better than having the big old crater there, is what I'm trying to get at. And it's a little bit of a thing of like, okay, positioning it just right to get it to, what do I want to say? Drop down in there, because I can't really get through there with the tape. So you just kind of have to like aim it and hope that your aim is good. And then where we, you know, went around with our little tool and scraped this up, I am just putting a very thin coat of resin, which I had just enough, I think, to finish that, which is awesome. Okay, so now let's pull our light back. And this, I'm probably going to go ahead and do 180 seconds because I want, okay, whoops. I want those holes to get enough of time with the light, basically. So, yeah. So then the next step is, oh, don't let all your stuff, I must have flung some things up on those. Would just to be to let these sit for 24, 48 hours, just to let that UV resin finish crisping up, let's just say, hardening up on it. So, yeah, it's exciting. Next tutorial, I can tell y'all, is going to be a blast. So, well, I don't know. It is for us crafters, right? You're my people, so you would understand. It's going to be a blast. It's something I have not done a tutorial on yet, so that's really exciting. It's not a repetitive item. It's something completely new, but that I've talked about before. So I'm excited for you guys to see that series. So definitely don't forget to, you know, subscribe to the channel. Also, I am going to, that will be the first series. This series might be the first series that ends up with pictures on TikTok. I'm going to try to get a little bit more of my TikTok and Instagram pages rolling again. And, you know, of course, can't put a whole tutorial on those social media sites, but you can get a sneak peek and then come back and see the full tutorial, which is pretty cool, I think. So that's, I'm going to be working on that more. I know we're still in 2025, but when I started doing my tutorials, it was around this time last year. So I'm just going to kind of continue that this is my quote-unquote physical year. And so yeah, I'll be doing some of that more starting this season of my tutorials. So, yeah. Hit me up if there's something particular you're wanting to see. Something you're like, hey, you should really do this. I'm just going to hit these with a little bit of this UV light. That's cool. You can see the one piece of, I want to call it dragon fruit. Is it? It's a fig. That's what it is. I want to call it dragon fruit, but it's a fig. I just figured since I'm standing here. This is just a UV spotlight for Counterculture DIY. Just has UV lights in it so that you can get a localized spot. And we'll use it more and more. I just went ahead and picked it up when I was getting this from them. Because, you know, if you're going to put an order in, you can't just buy one item. Just kidding. You should. You can, but it's really hard to do. Okay? Let's put it that way. Alright, let's take our tape off and see how disastrous this became. Oh yeah, you kept a piece of the tape because you just had to lie that, oh, it won't stick. Same thing, we left a piece of tape there. I'm going to throw this tape out. Basically, it just left a little edging and it cured up really nice. Sometimes you can get those off with your finger. I could tell that those were pretty strong and were not going to come off with the finger. So, a little trim. Give it a little trim, trim, trim. Yeah, oh, the top of this is even, like, I'm like, okay. We're going to have to do a little bit more work. I'm almost like, I got to go back and watch. Oh, I just popped that one completely out. That one's not as big as these ones. I'm going to have to Dremel that because it is definitely not cooperating. But I cut too much and it popped that resin right on out of there. Ooh. Okay. So I'm just going to try to nice and gentle. Oh, I should have moved my mold top, huh? Y'all are watching going, move the mold top. It's already late. Too late. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, this one. Okay. Alright, yep. We are going to... I want to just like dip this whole thing in resin. But, you know, that's not how that's going to work so well. So, let's just, we're gonna improv here on this. But this is how I do a lot of my, like, oopsies or my fixes. We just end up, you know, kind of working our way through whatever it is that we're gonna do. Should I have put gloves on? No, probably. So I'm gonna try to just basically put as much without going too crazy, and then put around here. I may regret this big time, especially now that I dropped that in there. We gotta work a little bit fast, and I should have totally put gloves on, and that's okay. You're just gonna have to roll with it now. It's this lip that is throwing me. Okay, we gotta put gloves on because it is a mess. Good thing about UV resin is that it's just it's not gonna cure it. Like, you don't have a, I mean, you have a limited work time, yes, but not super limited. I know I'm being like, oh, you gotta hurry. Well, yes and no. I do feel like I am just making a complete right onto my scissors, disastrous mess of this, but I'm hoping that it is going to pay off. Okay, y'all mark my words, right? Mark my words that it's going to pay off. Okay, because that was a hot mess. Let's put some rubbing alcohol on, because when we're working with resin, I'm barely missed my scissors. Whew. I'm working with UV resin, or resin in general. The rubbing alcohol is my best of friends. Okay. So, my hope is that I don't create another, like, massive, nasty air bubble in here. But we might end up with one. And I'm just going to go around the edge and kind of clean it up. But here's the thing. We're going to put the UV light on that. And it should, in theory, cure all that up. That's in theory. Okay? Alright. I wanted to wipe my gloves fully clean before I pull our light out. Nope, that was our heat gun. Oh, that was our whole... Okay, this... You and I are about to go rounds. There we go. I am... Okay, we're going to do not quite 6 minutes, but probably 3 minutes, just because I really want that to get done. We should really put our bottom on there, because that has both parts in it. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's connect these. Oh, gotta go the other way. Oh, ha, ha. Yeah, it's fine. It's like, do I want to put that there? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, but I gotta work around my cord to slide in our tray. All right. Look at there. Okay. We are underneath, so that is cool. This shouldn't be sticky when we pull it out. That's the hope. It should be cured up. Granted, it will still need a good 24-48 hours to finish fully curing, but that should do it. So, that's exciting. I don't really know. Oh, I guess I'm upside down. I was thinking, oh, we're like already there, y'all. Like, we blew through like 3 minutes. I'm looking at the numbers wrong. Like, oh, no. We didn't just blow through 3 minutes. I was like, I wonder how long I need to keep those under, because I did use some time to put it on the tray, but I was like, oh, it should be fine. Oh, no, you need it to go a little bit longer, that's for sure. Because we need more than what, we probably need to go below 3 minutes, essentially. But I thought we were like, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, we're at like 2 minutes and something. I'm like, okay, put some of my little tools away from resin pouring. I really try to kind of keep somewhat organized. I know it doesn't always seem like I do, because, you know, I feel like I'm always hunting for something, but I promise, I try. I try. I gotta clean up the craft space again, though. It got a little bit out of control. I put this new desk in, and I was like, I'm gonna keep this so organized and clean, and it started off really good. It's great in theory. And then, I don't know what happened other than, you know, crafting life. That's what I would say. Our crafting life happened because we just got busy with other things. I'd rather sit down with y'all and craft than I would spend time cleaning the craft space. When I get the time in the craft space, that's what I'd much rather do. Is like, hey, let's actually do something in the craft space. Let's hang out. But, you know, that's my theory. But obviously, sometimes we need a reset, y'all. I need to reset this space. And we are about at that point of I need to reset the space because it is a mess. A mess, I say. One thing too, your silicone tool, if you just put a little bit of that rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and you just wipe it off, it's going to air dry. Silicone, this one is, I need more tools, y'all. I need new tools, not more. I need new. But basically, you can just wipe it out. And then our little, this wasn't our cup that we used. Our little cup we used, you could put it under the light and cure that resin. Or, I find it's just easy to wipe it out with a little rubbing alcohol. And then that silicone will just air dry. And it's no problem. That's one of the advantages of the silicone. I love, because I can use and reuse and use again and reuse again, so forth. So while we're waiting for that, I am doing a little bit of cleanup, not a ton, but a little. I have more unfinished product in this little doodad. I was like, oh, what's in this thing? Do I have anything in it? Oh yeah, unfinished earrings. Because, you know, why not? You always have unfinished things. I'm like, Goodness gracious. I did start compiling and like corralling all of my unfinished items. And I'm like, okay, we're just gonna have to go on either like, I haven't decided if I'll do a tutorial on the cleanup of all these items, because I think at some point y'all are just gonna get bored of me. So I'm trying to keep it fresh and exciting, but you know, fresh content. But yeah, I get a little bit worried that, hey, I might bore y'all, and then you will be like, oh, that's boring. So I might do some of them tutorial. So I see my Let's Resin Light. But what's weird is I only have one part of my Let's Resin Light. Like, I have no clue where the other part went. What's the weirdest thing? The weirdest thing. I'm going to have to hunt for that, because not that I might use it, but just saying, I was trying to corral things. So this has gone on probably plenty of time, I think. So we're going to go ahead and pop this off. Those lights are a little warm. Yeah, this is no longer sticky on the edge, so that's good. Now, this may need a little more time. Look, this is the resin that bubbled up and out. It's just a little piece of the resin. Let's see how badly. Oh yeah, we created some pockets for sure. I kind of like the look of it though, oddly enough. I kind of like the bubbled look, but it is a little weird. Even it is for, like, my daughter gonna keep it. It needs a little bit longer under the light. What I might end up doing, I think I have an idea. Let's get that cured a little bit more, and then I'm gonna show you my idea. So anytime you have a oopsie kind of thing, what I would tell you is don't panic. Don't say, well, this piece is just done for, you know, and nobody's going to want this piece. No, don't do that. Get creative with that piece. Because if you're like, I'm just going to toss this piece, what's it going to do? Like, you've got nothing to lose but to try to save the piece and make something amazing from it, is what I would tell you. So I never give up on a piece. If I have to, I will put it away for a little while, and I'll just be like, okay, well, clearly that piece is giving me trouble and it's not going to work right now, and that's fine. Like, if it's not going to work, like, okay. And if I'm getting frustrated with it, definitely put it away, set it aside, come back to it. Some of my most creative times are I peeled resin off of something that stuck to me. Some of my best creations have come from like little oopsies. So that's what I would tell you is, like, don't give up on a piece. Okay? Don't give up on. Okay, let's see. I am going to get, I'm going to just get a little makeup sponge. This one has some glitter, not glitter, mica on it already. I'm not really worried because it's pretty much the same color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take almost like this little pixie dust. And I'm just filling in where our bubbles are. And then we're going to put a coat of UV resin over that. Like, but it kind of just gives them like their own fun special accent. Is what I'm thinking. And then you can still see the stuff underneath, you know. That just adds a little flair to it. Alright, so I'm going to put this on a piece of paper so that I don't ruin my glass. It's not glass, it's a plastic piece, but you know, so I don't ruin it when I'm doing this. Just because I'm afraid I'm going to end up, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do a little spritz of the air. Disperse some of that mica. Sorry, y'all are probably seeing glitter everywhere. It's snowing mica. But I just kind of want to do that so that I want the paper down because I probably am going to overflow off of the piece. I'm going to try not to, but I have a feeling there's going to be a spot that does. So essentially, I am just trying to flood coat that knob. And then I am going to essentially try to flood coat the whole top of the lid. We're going to have to hit this with our, yeah, maybe we won't actually. Because we need to probably hit with our lighter just to pop some of these bubbles, but maybe we won't because that just kind of goes with the fun bubble look that we've created. Now, I definitely see us overflowing in spots. The micro bubbles I'm not going to worry about. I was more worried about the bigger bubbles. You know what one should have done was just tape off that bottom, but you know, it's fine. I'm going to let it kind of drip down on all the edges here because I just kind of want it to go ahead and do that coating. And then because that has a lip to it the way it sits in the honey pot, I am going to take a silicone brush and just full on wipe that up. And silicone onto silicone, you can just kind of scrape in, and not that I'm trying to per se save that resin, but in a way, yeah, let's save some of that dripped off. Doesn't have to be perfect, of course, but I'm just trying to make sure that that lip doesn't get sealed off, basically, and connected is what I was trying to accomplish with that. I am going to do a little switcheroo here onto, oops, a plastic glove because that paper is just going to get really stuck. Let's get that curing as quickly as we can. We're going to do 60 seconds just to start, and then I might want to do a little cleanup and do a little longer. And I saved that resin, and then I just about put it, oh yeah, that's already curing. Wow. Fast, 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 fast. I put the cup like right where the light could see it, but I think it's still wet. So that's one thing, is if you pour extra, note that if it's anywhere near your light, you are going to cure it, and that's just going to happen. So I really think it's probably pretty good. Let's see. Ooh, it is warm. That was warm. Still a little sticky. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do here. I guess I'm going to Dremel that. So I'm going to finish curing that probably 2 minutes. Let's just do that. Or 180 seconds. It's a little more than 2 minutes, but that's okay. It's 3 minutes, I guess. I've got 1 minute, 3, and then what is that? It would be, is that 5 minutes? Yeah, 5 minutes. I was like, let me do the math here. I used to be really good at math, but I haven't done it in so long. Oh, kind of crazy. Crazy. I'm just going to keep kind of doing a little cleanup of my area. Oh, I thought that was going to fit in that so beautifully, and it so did not. You know how that goes? Like, oh, that will fit there. And it would just be stunning. It would be just gorgeous. And then I went to do it, and it was like, nope. Just kidding. You're not putting that there. But I want to put it there. I'm still stumped about my maybe Resin Light. Oh, here it is. Oh, let's resin. I don't remember. It is falling. That's the problem with the one that doesn't fold. I'm like, it falls into a weird spot and then you lose it. I have all these molds that I need to put away, but some of these molds that I keep in my workspace I use quite frequently. You know, either for dump pours or so forth. So I've got some fun things. Let's see, how are we? Oh, good. I love this countdown. I know, it's so silly. The silliest things excite me. But it's like, oh. So we really could probably pull that out because it's cured for 3 minutes total now because we did the 60 seconds and then that. But like, we've got this going on. That popped right off, thankfully. I'm just going to turn you off. And I don't have a great spot to set it when I'm working. So now we've got next challenge. You know, we have fixed our top. I do love the way this top has turned out. I think that is so cute and so fun. This bubble is a little bubbly still, but you know, again, I am giving to my daughter. But now what I'm afraid of is the lid doesn't rest. It's not terrible. We just got some edges here that we should probably clean up, essentially. And it's still a little tacky. So I'm going to see if gibbering tool can get in here. No, let's just do. Let's make a mess. Let's make a mess. I was like, man, that came on so strong earlier. You can turn it down. And then you know what we're going to do to hide this? We are just going to paint a layer of gold. That is what we are going to do. I got to go back up on my speed. I'm glad I'm wearing gloves now because it's still definitely tacky. It needs to cure. Oh. I'm going to try to get underneath here where there's like a alligator bubble. Not even a bubble, it's an alligator tear is what I call those that drip down. I have a previous episode that a series, well, an episode, in one of the series, I couldn't even tell you which one, but I talk about the alligator tears and where that came from. It's kind of funny. Let's see. It's about time to charge this baby. About time to give it some juice. It's not going to be perfectly round. I mean, I'm kind of already, like, resigned to that part. But I want to get it as, you know, somewhat close as possible. There's a big, like, piece of resin that. About time for a new sandpaper thing too. Like, I feel like it should just come off. It's hard to talk with all this noise going on, so. Yes. This girl's gonna need a charge. There's a big alligator tear here. Yep. I'm like, I know you don't like it. Alright. I feel like that will be enough to get what we need. Well, I knew you were going to do that. Okay. So, we have such a mess. But with this one, I don't want to use rubbing alcohol because that's rubbing alcohol. I really need to label. That's something I gotta do soon. Because I don't want the rubbing alcohol to rough up our resin. And rubbing alcohol can make your resin look cloudy. So we don't want to use that. So I just need to grab my spray bottle. Because I used it and didn't put it away. That was on me. So I just have a spray bottle of water. It's just a Dollar Tree cheap spray bottle. And look at that. Can wipe all that dust off. Makes it look a lot better. Yes, we do have this happening. Which I am... Man, it almost looks like it like roughed up here. Like, why is this piece giving me so many issues, y'all? I'm like, that's a bubble within a bubble within a bubble. I was just gonna, all I was gonna do is basically clean this up and paint it with our gold marker and call it done. But I hate how this is clouded. I don't like that at all. At all. So this fixing just went to another level. I think it's because that resin wasn't maybe fully cured. And so it just, the water in the paper towel scuffed it. Okay, well look. Now, rubbing alcohol, we're getting a shine again. When we do the rubbing alcohol. So that tells me when it's freshly wet, if we put another coat of resin on there, it should clear that up. But what that means is putting another coat of flipping resin on it. So I'm going to get smarter this time. I do need to take my glove off though. And we are going to just tape the bottom of this so that we don't have to worry about it getting resin where we've already cleaned 10,000 times. Like, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to need but like half of this. I'm just going to have to kind of piece my circle around it, basically. That way. We're just going to create a barrier. And I decided rather than cut it in half, like let's just cut strips off of the elongated piece that I grabbed. So that seems to make the most sense instead of cutting the length I wanted and then cutting it in half. It just, this way it's working a lot better. Just trying not to get my glove caught up in there. Okay. Okay. Ugh, stuck. It always drives me crazy. Okay. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Alrighty. We're fine. We're fine. It's all good. I'll get in the hood. It's just, this one has taken a little longer and it's testing my patience. And that's just how it is. It's okay though. Right? It's okay. I'm going to try not to go on the top here because I think, well, screw that. I'm just going to get all of it. Just kidding. I am going to just get all of it. Even if it ends up not being fully smooth, I think that's just going to go with the character of this lid. And that's just how it's going to be. Because, yeah. It's just one of those that we had to work a little bit extra hard to make it be pretty again. And then probably what I'll do is I'm probably gonna let this sit overnight. I'll take the tape off, but I'll probably let that finish curing before I try to handle it a ton. And that way hopefully it can just not get clouded with me touching it again. Because I'm afraid if I keep touching it, I'm gonna just have to keep doing this and cleaning up, and I just don't want to do that all night. So I'll cure this, take our tape off, and then leave it, and then we'll paint it after it's cured for at least 12-24 hours, something like that. I think it will be fine, but I just want to make sure. Okay, so I only did the 1/2 because I don't think I need both ends of this for it. I just need it to connect. Like, I am plugged in, and I always wonder, like, does my power strip turn off? I don't know what happens. Okay. Huh, feels sticky. But yeah, we don't want that long. Come on. Okay, that's my other complaint, is that sometimes it just doesn't, it's like that's where it says to go, but it doesn't sense your finger. Like, it just sense my finger. I know it's not like my exact fingerprint, so. It's like I almost just want it to be a push button. That would be nice. That's my critiquing of it, right? So, you can also watch my unpacking of this, and see me unboxing of it and using it the first time. page more organized while this stuff is like, you know, setting up and doing things. I'm like, okay. Alright, y'all. We're grooving. We moving, we grooving. That kind of stuff, you know. Did that just go from 30 to like nothing? I think it did. I'm gonna have to watch that. Sorry, I'm like guzzling because I got really thirsty suddenly. Probably because I'm just jabbering away over here. I'm like jabber, jabber, jabber. Trying to keep y'all entertained while this cures up. Sorry, now I'm crinkling because I'm cleaning again. I'm like, maybe I can put this over here and put that there and trying to clean up the space. Like, what do I have and where? Now you gotta get all your little tools put back away. You need to put a bunch of materials like mica back away and glitters. Okay. We've got some cleaning up to do. Alright, let's see. So yeah, that looks a lot better. But like I said, I am not going to mess with it. I am going to just let it be for tonight. We're just going to let that sit because I want that to fully cure up for us. So I will pop back on tomorrow. This is going to be like a 3-part merge together to get you guys the 4th episode, which, you know, is the unmolding and then the cleanup. But so it's a little bit longer, but I want to wrap this series up for y'all because I want us to get on to the next. Because who doesn't want to see what's coming, right? All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys. So this is set probably about 24 hours now. Feels really good, except there is a wet spot right there that I stuck my finger in. Jeez. Love Pete's. Biscuits and gravy, as my daughter would say. Like, what is going on? Like, do I need to... That's really sharp right there. I don't know if that was just UV resin related or if that was, you know, other. I'm trying to see if I see any more. Like, this lid has been just a time and a half troublesome. Excuse me. I got like a little tickle. I'm just going around this edge. I just want to make sure there's no real rough spots because there was one spot that was super, super sharp. And it feels so much better now. Okay. We are going to proceed with painting this with our gold paint pen. If I can get the lid off. These ones, they always hurt my hands because the lids are the way they are. Alright, got it. So, paint pen, pretty easy just to use it, and we're going to touch up all where I scuffed it. And we might have to put a little bit in a like in one of my silicone cups, just to proceed with getting in the center crease, because it doesn't look like it's going to allow me to go in the crease, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to get as much as I can. Well, might if I turn it just right. Come on, get in there. And when we're squeezing that extra paint in there, it's going to be extra wet. So we just got to be careful to not touch. Yeah, there's spots that are definitely not going to get filled unless I hand brush it in with a silicone brush. Which, that's fine. We can do that. So I'm just basically trying to go around to clean up what I scuffed up so that it's all pretty, basically. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this. You just push the little pin part down to release extra paint. And I just do that, and then we'll get, I'm looking for the right, this one will work good. Yep, just one of our silicone brushes, and basically just paint it in there. And just scoop up a little bit of that paint and go in the little crevice that we couldn't reach with the paint pen itself. And then I think that this piece is just gonna have to be pretty much done. Like I said, I am gonna just let my daughter keep it because she fell in love with it. So again, I'm not worried about resale and disappointing a customer. If I was going to sell this piece, I'd probably just do a whole new lid and just do that, just because we've had so many issues. It just seems like, okay, it's time to just start afresh because something didn't mix correctly. But being that my daughter is going to keep this one, I'll just let her keep it and it'll be fine. Okay, lid back on. You always want to make sure these lids go on all the way so that you don't dry your pen out. And then just a little bit of rubbing alcohol should clean up your brush just like it would with resin. So that comes off. And same thing with our little cup. Should just be able to wipe it right on out. If I put a little more rubbing alcohol, that would be perfect. Okay, this is pretty well dried already. It dries that quickly. I know it's still got some dust up here. I didn't clean it very well. And our bottom is nice and beautiful. So that's good. And it goes with our lid. Look at that. I love it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. And stay tuned for next week's. Talk to you guys later. Bye.